Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays and welcome back to another top 5 episode. In today's top 5, we are looking at the top 5 shit tanks that Wargaming made OP. Coming in at number 5 is the Panther. Now, I could have had a few number 5s, but I went for this one. It's a pretty decent tank. It's been buffed. Armor profile. The armor profile got buffed, and it is absolutely insane now. Coming up against tier 6 tanks, it's very difficult for them to be able to penetrate. And when this first got buffed, literally no one could deal with the Panther. Along with the Panther, what I could have added is the Panther 2 and the Panther, which both have also got the armor profile, the armor buff. So all three of these Panther, Panther 2s, they've all got buffed, and they've all been made pretty much, not so much the Panther 2, but the Panther and the Panther are pretty much overpowered now. Along with the rate of fire of this thing, the speed of this thing, the alpha of this thing, this tank has been made overpowered. Now, this game, you can see we come up against the Panther 2. We've bounced him a couple of times. He's bounced us a couple of times. But bearing in mind, we are a TD in tier 7. We are a lower tier than that Panther 2. He has more DPM, and we still managed to fight him off. And I reckon we could have dealt with him if even if we didn't have any help. So if you haven't played the Panther, definitely worth playing. It leads to the Panther 2, which is also a good tank, which I still need to review. But this is my number 5. And coming in at number 4 is another couple of tanks that I could have added, but we've gone for the AT-15A. Again, this is a tier 7 British tank destroyer. It was okay. There was nothing special about the tank, but also we could have added the AT-15 to this same list. But we've gone for the AT-15A because it is a tier below, and it does have better armor profile than the tier 8 version. Now, Wargaming recently buffed the TDs in tier 7, and they buffed the rate of fire and they buffed the alpha. And this thing is absolutely immense. What is it? 3.5, nearly 4k DPM now. It's absolutely insane. Now, I've gone for this one because the AT-15 in tier 8, because of the armor profile, I don't really find it's overpowered. It does have, okay, it does have 4,000 DPM, but I've gone for the tier 7 because of that armor profile. I mean, we are in a tier 8 game. We've bounced 1,800 damage, and we're just going to bully this Centurion Mark 5.1, which also has good DPM. Also, it has a nice turret, pretty decent armor. And we are just tearing him apart with our DPM. 3 seconds, I mean 3.8 seconds, we're doing 200 alpha every time. So this tank now is worth the buy, and that's why it is made my number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the Black Prince. Of course, this has to be there. One of the most overpowered tier 7 tech tree tanks. Bear in mind, I said tech tree. I'm not going to go for the premiums, considering there's smashers, annihilators, and everything like that around. But this is most definitely the most overpowered tier 7 tech tree tank in the game. And I'm very surprised Wargaming still has not nerfed this thing. They buffed it a while ago. They buffed the DPM. Quite a few updates ago now. And even the first update, they buffed it. We was all saying, wow, this tank is insane. 3,000 DPM. It has the armor. It doesn't have the speed, but it does have the speed boost, which helps it a little bit. Not too much, but it helps it a little bit. But you can't have everything. You've got the armor, you've got the DPM. You can't have everything. Now, the Black Prince is definitely, I'm surprised no one has actually, if no one's ground this yet, if no one's gone for the grind, you should do. You should definitely go for the grind on the Black Prince. I've seen so many big damage games in this tank, and a lot of them are sort of between 5 and 6k damage. For a tier 7 tank is absolutely insane. Now this guy sent me the replay file itself, and I thought, you know what, perfect game to actually use in this top 5. As I've said, it doesn't have the speed, but it does have that armor. I mean, he's bounced 1,900, 1,800, something like that. Almost 2k damage, and he's now up to 3k damage, and he is just bullying these tier 6s. There is still 4 tanks left alive. He's a one shot, and he's only on 3.4k damage at the moment. Now, even side on, here's the Annihilator, bounces all 3 shots. Bearing in mind, the Annihilator is one of the most broken tanks in the game at the minute. Even that tank could not deal with the Black Prince. And the Black Prince now, there we go, just out and out DPM. Oh, hello SU. Hello, nice to meet you. Now we can just farm you with our DPM, and before you know it, over 5k damage, over 5.5k damage. Absolutely insane. 2.5k damage blocked as well. So that is why the Black Prince is my number 3. Number 2 on my list, could even be number 1. It is the WZ121. Now, again, a lot of you newer players won't understand just how bad this tank was when Wargaming first implemented it into the game. It was shockingly bad. The DPM was bad. The armor was bad. What else was bad? Everything was bad. The gun depression, bad. Everything. I mean, I think it had like 3 degrees of gun depression. It had 400 alpha or something like that. Very, very bad DPM. It was like 2,000 something DPM. It was very, very bad. But since then, Wargaming have just buffed it and buffed it and buffed it. Now it has, what, 5 degrees of gun depression instead of 3. It has 420 alpha instead of the 400. It is a crazy tank now. And again, it's a tank that if you haven't played, definitely go play it. It's, what, 3,500, something like that, 3,400 DPM. It's got it's a medium tank on a heavy gun. It has an amazing turret as well. And with that extra 2 degrees of gun depression that Wargaming gave it, you can easily just hold down and just bounce all day long, getting those 420 alpha shots out. Now, this game already blocked 870 damage, 3,300 damage. It's now a 2 versus 4. His last remaining teammate is about to die, and he's only on 1,100 hit points. He needs to clear this guy. It's going to take 2 shots to clear him. Don't forget, you could do, with the gun on this thing, if you've got a max roll, you could do 575 damage. That is a lot of damage you can do on a medium tank with, I mean, what, 6.1 seconds reload on the adrenaline with 420 alpha. Insane. If you haven't played the 121 yet, definitely go play it. And if you didn't play the 121 when it was first implemented, you would never understand just how bad this tank was. It was easily one of the worst tier 10s Wargaming have ever added into the game when it was first released. But I don't mind that. I mean, it's better being bad than good, than OP, right? At least Wargaming can easily buff it than have so many people grinding the line because of the tank is OP. And because it wasn't the greatest, not a lot of people were actually going for this line. But now it's been buffed. It's just everyone, we see more and more of these tanks in the battlefield. Not because it's OP. I wouldn't say it's completely OP, but considering how it was, boom, there we go. See you later, IS-7. What a way to end it. And that is why this tank, the 121, is coming in at my number 2. A crazy, crazy tank at the moment, and definitely worth the grind. Now, my number 1 is a tank that got buffed a long time ago. And again, just like the 121, those of you that never played the E3, the T110 E3, back before it was buffed, it was another poor tank. As soon as I bought this tank, I sold it. I then gave it another chance. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give the tank another chance. I rebought it and resold it straight away because it was just not worth being in my garage. Now, the thing on this, it was slow. Very, very, very slow. It had the armor. It did have the armor, but it was very slow. All Wargaming needed to do to make this tank completely OP, and I'm still calling it the most OP TD in tier 10, 100%. All they had to do was make it a little bit quicker, and as soon as Wargaming made it a little bit quicker, the tank changed. The tank completely changed. But not only did Wargaming make this tank quicker, they gave it the consumable to make it go even quicker. So where this was one of the slowest tanks in the game, I'm not exaggerating, it was, apart from the TOG, it was one of the slowest tanks in the game. In tier 10, Wargaming have just completely changed the tank by giving it that speed. And now, with the speed it's got, the gun depression, the armor, it is an absolute beast, and my all-time favorite TD at the moment. I love playing this. If you can get this tank on a ridge, you will be laughing all day long. You're going to get block after block because the hatch on the thing is pretty much impenetrable unless they hit the right spot. There is a few weak spots that not a lot of people know about the tank, but you can't really, it's hard to see those weak points at the front of the tank, pretty much the little hatches. But all in all, they are hard they are harder positions to hit. They're harder things to hit especially when you're hold down, you're just showing the sort of the top of your turret, using that gun depression. This thing's an absolute beast, and if you haven't played the E3 or if you've never grinded the line, 100% you should grind this line. It's not such a slow tank anymore. I mean, we're going 30 kilometers an hour. Put a speed boost on that thing, you can go pretty much almost 40 kilometers an hour. In a TD with this much armor and such a nice gun, it makes the tank completely, in my opinion, overpowered. And that is why the E3 is my number one of tanks that were shit but Wargaming made OP. But let me know, I mean, this top 5 is my personal opinion. Remember that, guys, this is my opinion. Don't hate, don't judge. This is my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. Let me know what your top 5 shit tanks were that Wargaming actually made OP. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With